Hello, everyone. Okay, yeah. This is like my second time using this software, so it's I'm still learning and everything. And by the way,
Natalie is another who has left StreamYard.
yeah, Sam, when your hands were over here, I didn't realize it was a cat or a dog or anything, and so I see you doing this, and I'm like, what is this?
I thought we were like doing this again for a second.
So
Well,
here,
see,
we're gonna recreate.
the void.
We realized our powers combined will make a good host, and so we did. Oh crap! I almost went. It was like Wonder Twins activate, and so we all went to the center.
Oh my gosh, I'm having issues now.
Yeah. My connection to the void is so powerful that occasionally voidlings pop up from this corner. This one is my yin yang voidling.
Those videos are hilarious of cats like just all of a sudden like appearing on top of a stove or like in front of a TV that's turned off and everything. All of a sudden you see eyes. And then there was some where I saw where this person pulls out their phone and they're laughing because they were looking at what they thought was eyes, but it was actually 2 buttons on a black t-shirt hanging in their closet. I was like, that's kind of relatable.
That could be a scary story for someone to write.
Yes.
Here's my other voidling is coming. This one is much more shadowed.
Yeah, this one came from the void too. Just takes after me.
I know, she's sniffing you. She's kissing you. How dare she?
Okay. So, welcome to the final sprint.
No,
number 13
we're not going to do that.
For Storytellers Hearth. And so, yeah, at this point, if you're experiencing a tiny bit of burnout, just start doing some self-care during the sprints. Or if you're about to fight with your fellow furs.
Sorry, Riju, she is a 1-year-old puppy, and Artemis is finally tolerating her, and so Riju will come over and she'll like gently, like she'll sniff her, and then she'll kiss her, and she'll start to clean her, and then like her brain goes, she's letting me touch her, and then she gets like really high energy, and then Artemis is like, no, and I have to mitigate, because I'm like, we're not doing that on top of me. No.
Oh, yeah.
That's the perfect location.
Built-in referee, literally. Yeah. Welcome, everybody. So we have everyone who came. Chandra could not make it, but it's okay. She's here in spirit. I'll carry our authorship together, I guess. No big deal. But I'm Natalie Locke. You're on my channel, and Chandra and I like each other enough to put both of our names on 2 writing prompt books. And so that's 1,000 words to get started the series. So everyone else, I would love for y'all. I got your links in the description. The main ones, most of y'all sent like a link tree and stuff because y'all are smarter than me. Whereas me, I'm just like, here's my website. Go from there. But by all means, how about Shannon, you first, then Laura, and then Sam will finish us off going clockwise.
Hello, everyone. I'm Shannon. I'm sure most of you guys know me already, but for anyone who might be new, coming across us just now, I write under the pen name of S.C. Houston, write fantasy romance. I have a YouTube channel under the pen name of S.C. Houston, where I do weekly writing sprints Monday through Thursday. I'm also 1/3 of the Self-Publishing Tips and Tricks podcast with Ben Pick from Running to Write and Jamie from J.M. Chelly YouTube channels. And I'm also the founder and conference chair, co-chair with Devin Gambrill Clark from the AuthorTube Writing Conference, and we are gearing up for our 4th year right now and getting together all the applications and emails about to go out to those who submit applications. So if you submit an application, you should be getting something within the next month or so, as we do waves of sending out the applications. I also have a Kickstarter that's running. It is at the top of my link tree that's down below. And my Kickstarter is starting on Tuesday. Is the second standalone book in my series, A Curse of Wings and Gems. And yeah, I'm looking forward to getting that started. And even if you can't support me for the Kickstarter, if you go and follow, that will help me on the platform. It will bump me up in the algorithm when it goes live on Tuesday. So I appreciate whatever support you can show.
Awesome. I am Laura Nettles. I mostly write horror. I've got this book published. It's got 101 stories in there. I am querying this one, which is a middle grade, and working on draft 2 of this one. And that's me.
Hi, I'm Writing Mom Samantha L. Nassett. On my channel, I talk about writer things, parent things, and writer-parent things. I also often talk about my chronic migraines and how all of these things work together or don't. I also host live streams on Mondays. I do writing sprints, flash fiction free-for-alls, let's talks, parties, just whatever I'm feeling that month. Next month, I will be hosting a flash fiction free-for-all and a quarterly party because I like to celebrate making it through the year 1 quarter at a time. I also host Whip Wednesdays on Wednesday with CB Friends. This week, Whip Wednesday will be hosted on my channel. It is a 3-hour block where we dedicate time to primarily working on our whips and supporting everybody else working on their primary whip. We're also starting a Baldur's Gate Let's Play on her channel on whatever Fridays we can make work. It's been a really fun time so far. We've only done 1 episode, but I highly recommend watching it. Y'all may see a gremlin side of Sam you did not necessarily know existed. And 2 Saturdays a month, we have a book talk where we get together and we just talk about a book that at least one of us loves and is new to the other one. And it's just a really good time. And yeah, you can follow me literally anywhere I'm aware of that exist. My links are linked in my link tree down below.
It's funny how we have to have like almost every single God, what is it? I was about to say market.
Social media?
Yeah, like every single platform. That's the word I was looking for, platform. Yeah. And I can tell you, I'm not active on all of them. Definitely not. I'm just glad to be here. That's the way I'm operating.
My favorite one to use right now, honestly, is Blue Sky and just my YouTube community tab. I really love both of them. And I always keep my YouTube community tab up to date. So like,
you're
even
also
if
really
I'm
good about your Monday night streams, like you were on point with that.
I tried. I have had to cancel more of them this year than I would have liked because of migraine woes, but I never just don't show up. I always go to my community tab and be like, hey, I have to cancel today. So, because I just like keeping people up to date. I like being reliable in that way, at least. And I have had like a couple times where people are like, hey, are you just running late? Or are you not showing up? Like, what's up? So,
yeah. Have y'all, so y'all, I'm not sure how everyone has been this weekend. I have not been. It was a lot of self-care for me because, let me put it this way. I have a 14-year-old daughter and her first boyfriend came over to hang out yesterday. So I was not streaming. I was not even, fair. I didn't pull anybody up and everything. I was in parental mode of trying not to be pestering, but at the same time, like, how far am I going to let this stream?
New area, trying to figure out the good balance between responsible parent and respectful parent.
Yeah, exactly.
My oldest is 13 now, so not dating yet, but of my 3, that's the one that seems the most interested.
She's actually had like little boyfriends, but this one I would say is like the first like a real boyfriend. Maybe not real relationship yet. In my theory, I didn't have my first relationship until 17, but I could see it as a first boyfriend. I don't know, a little more serious than the one that she had in like kindergarten and 5th grade.
I understand. You're trying not to invalidate anything, but at the same time, there's like different levels to it.
There is. So
I never had to deal with that. My oldest, he's about to turn 24. I would ask him, "Are you interested in any girls? Do you want to date anybody?" He was like, "No, girls. I need to get through high school first. That's more important." And now all the decisions he's making in his career is all to set himself up for a family because he wants to make sure that he's home and all that. And I'm like, okay, cool.
That's awesome.
Bravo.
My youngest currently, she's just like, I'm never getting married. I'm never dating. I don't want kids. None of that. And I'm like,
that's what my husband said before he met me.
I'm like, that's how your Aunt Tabby is. So maybe you'll be that way forever.
I highly believe, because I have a lot of friends who are single or not. There's single friends, and then there's friends who are married but have chosen not to have children. And I'm like, more power to you, because society puts these expectations on us, and it's up to you and everything. It is. And what works for you. If you are, and one of my friends, they bring up they're selfish, and I'm like, no, you just know exactly what you want, and you're not willing to compromise that. That's honestly not a bad thing.
I think it's the opposite. I think they're the ones who are more selfless than selfish, because I may be controversial. I think parents are the selfish ones, because like, we have kids because we want kids. That's what we want. The kids don't necessarily want to exist.
That psychologically it's been proven that actually, so people who don't have children will think of the human race as a whole, whereas people with children will only think about their family.
Yeah, because for survival you have to prioritize.
And it's played in sci-fi, the sci-fi genre. See, I can always get it back to books. It's played in the sci-fi genre before. Of this mindset use in the movie Interstellar, of people not thinking about the human race as a whole. They just think about the next generation at most.
So I have to say, I'm probably in a minority in this, because I actually didn't want children. My oldest was a mistake, but we kept him. And then the second one was because hubby wanted him. And I said, well, I'm kind of done. So
actually,
it doesn't mean that I don't take care of my kids. But then my brother always said that my bubble was me. And now that I had kids, my bubble grew a little bit to include my kids, but I've never been about the world. I've always been about me, is what he would say. So,
yeah, so for me, I got pregnant after a month of dating, and it worked out. He's still here, though I did give him an out. And he's like, honey, if it was twins, I would have left. But since it wasn't, we're good.
If it's twins, I would have left.
He's a twin himself, so he kind of has a little bit of understanding of the chaos they can cause. But he was, we've had that conversation a few times. And then the second one, there's 7 years between the kids. So, and it was one of those, I was like, oh, all right, let's try for like 9 months, which is ridiculous. Cause I was like, was that my one fertile chance, was my oldest and everything. And then of course, right when we say, if it doesn't happen this month, we give up, like, it's okay and everything. And then +sign. I was like, oh, okay. And then I scheduled my husband's vasectomy, like within 6 hours of having our second.
That's fair. We had them earlier and closer together than we wanted, but I wanted between 2 to 3, because growing up, I just noticed that my friends with siblings, myself included, we tended to be kind of more content with our lot in life, and a lot of my friends who were like only children seemed a little like just lonelier, in my opinion, at least from the people I personally knew. So I was just like, I want at least 2. I want my kid to have a built-in friend. Also, it's just kind of easier that way.
So you grew up with siblings. Shannon, did you grow up with siblings?
I had two younger brothers, and that's what I always said. If I did have children, I wanted two or an even number, because two brothers, mom and dad. So, and we live in Miami, so we go to Walt Disney World, and I was always sitting with a stranger. So I was like, but then we basically had only children, because we started trying when my oldest was like 5 for the second child, and there's 12 years difference between the two kids because I kept losing babies. So
yeah, I lost one in between the first and my second. Laura, do you have siblings?
3 younger.
3 younger. Yeah. And
Laura
I
cannot stand any of them, is definitely not going to visit one next week.
It's actually
I'm flying out tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Oh,
that is this week now, isn't it? See, I am wrong on so many levels now.
I actually find it really interesting, because psychology has reflected that the position of birth affects your outlook and your of the world, as well as what you give to the world, like what you offer the world. And I almost believe it a little bit. But yet, for example, I was the youngest, and I'm the more put together. I at least got to use my older siblings' mistakes and went, oh, okay. And I made my own, but it wasn't as many and it wasn't as serious. Then my youngest is chaos in a bodily form. So I'm like, that wasn't me, but yet there's a common thread of, if one of your children could start a coup and become a dictator of a country, why is it your second? And I was like, this hits pretty hard for me. So I don't know. I think it's interesting, because I think when we think of personalities and stuff, that has to play a factor in our writing of the characters, to what's their familial relationships and such.
I think it's extremely anecdotal on the parents and their expectations for their kids. And like, that's why a lot of times the oldest is parentified. But if it is a parent who instead golden childs the oldest, the youngest is generally left to pick up the slack. So that's why it's kind of interesting that there is always the specific role, well, not always, but as a great generalization, there are these specific roles that like siblings fall under, but not necessarily always in the same order. And it can be culturally as to which one is which most of the time. Also, age differences can be a big thing for younger children who either have a really big age gap or almost no age gap with their siblings. They do tend to, from my experience, be the chaos gremlin incarnate. My youngest, she's definitely both the chaos, and she would start a coup and take over a country.
Oh yeah.
So, and my middle would be her right-hand man. Like, I have no doubt. When they used to go on the playground, she was my extroverted child that would be like in the middle of absolutely everybody. And there was this one time this other kid was like following her. And I think the other kid was attempting to mess with her, but she just did not have time for that child's nonsense. So she would just like ignore them. But I had to like step in when I saw the way my middle like stood up and went to go over there. And at the time, they were younger and he didn't have as much self-control or self-restraint. And this child, because he watched his dad lift weights, would practice lifting up a 5-pound weight. So he could lift this 5-pound weight by the time, like when he was 2.5. So I could not let him interact with other toddlers the way that most could. So when I saw him like get up and I just saw his stance as he goes towards this child following his sister around, I was like, oh no, I cannot let this continue. Because I was just gonna let her handle it the way she wanted to handle it, but I was like, I can't let my child floor another child because he's mildly annoying his sister.
Yeah, it's funny with kids. Like, I will say one thing that luckily my kids, they haven't had that strength or anything. If anything, they kind of roll over and stuff. But I also was very adamant twofold, and I think I delayed another response, but my adamant for years was, you will not be the bully. You will be in trouble if I find out you were the bully. Like you will have a worse punishment than just getting into a fight. If I find out you instigated, you're the bully and stuff like that. Like my husband are absolutely against that whatsoever. And then later I realized, and this is probably why they're kind of at times meek and will roll over a little bit. Not like people can't walk all over them, but they won't. But I started finally throwing it. And I was like, if you see someone being bullied, step in. I was like, you will never be in trouble if you stepped in on behalf of someone else. And I feel like if I said that earlier, they would have that power stance that your child has and be like, all right, I got to go help the family. Let's go. But I added that in later when I realized,
yeah, I grew up with my dad ever since elementary school. He told us, he was like, do not start a fight. He's like, don't start a fight, don't bully, don't pick on people. But if someone starts a fight with you, if I found out you lose that fight, you are grounded. But if you win, we are going to McDonald's. And so, because he was like, he didn't want us to be bullies. But he did not, he was like damn sure to make sure we were not doormats either. And so, and we would also never get in trouble for defending anybody else. So,
yeah.
And so that was, I tried to mirror that with my children. And my oldest, he's a pretty good peacekeeper and such. So, but he's a little meeker than the other two, just like natural personality wise. So,
yeah, they I think the name for them is like golden retriever. They like to, like, it's like,
yeah, he's
around, mellow out the attitudes in the room and everything, trying to bring everyone.
He's like a goober retriever, yeah. A goober retriever. He's such a goof.
I'm just trying to visualize what that looks like if it like was an actual animal that existed.
That's my brother.
Imagine a Shiba
Wait,
Inu.
which one? Because you said you're the oldest.
Mixed.
Is that the middle one or the younger one?
He's the youngest.
The youngest.
Of 4, so he's the baby.
Oh.
Yeah, my oldest definitely sometimes acts like the stereotypical middle or youngest, even though like he is the oldest and he is the most responsible of the 3 and everything, especially since he's become a teenager. But still, like, hierarchy wise, he lets his siblings dominate everything.
I think that's interesting because like I have great revere, hopefully I'm choosing the right word, reverence, whatever, for the people who are able to go, this fight it's not worth for me to argue about this point or something. Like they are very aware of what's worth fighting over, what's worth discussing, and the people who can decide that and be like, I'm not going to get worked up over this, I have great respect for them, which is, and because I struggle with that, where I'm at least internally going, but outwardly I probably come calm and everything. That's probably why none of my characters ever embody that. I don't think I have one character that is like, oh yeah, no, it's cool. Like none of them.
It is definitely something I had to work hard at learning. And to this day, still sometimes I have to be like, but is it worth it? Especially since I, by nature, enjoy confrontation. So, and
you
sometimes
learn a lot about someone's values in confrontation, which is why confrontation in your writing is great for advancing the story. You learn about what is important, what is said, what is not said. Go ahead.
One of the earliest things I had to learn with that, though, was that not everybody enjoys confrontation. Like most people, in fact, don't. They find it like stressful or, all of that. So I had to very quickly learn how to be non-confrontational when discussing things. And even sometimes to this day, especially in text and stuff, like just like during this weekend, I was having, in my mind, a discussion with somebody else. And I know I know this other person, like we have a rapport, we know each other. And so I knew, like, by reading their text and tone, that they were also just excited and pulled into the conversation. So like we were just both high energy discussing back and forth. But my friend who did not know our rapport and stuff was getting really anxious because they were like, oh no, like they were afraid that the conversation was escalating and stuff. And then like
They
at the
felt they
end,
had
we
to be a
kind of
goober retriever in the
no,
situation.
they were like checking in with me to make sure everything was okay. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm fine. Don't worry about it. And then like it gets to a point where me and the other person were like, oh, I think we've got like a little bit of a misunderstanding on this one part. We do agree at this part and stuff. And then, you know, we were like, hey, I enjoyed the discussion. And the other person goes, yeah, I enjoyed the discussion too. And then we like started talking about something else. But it's like, it's really easy to forget that even just watching people who like really enjoy energetic debates can be stressful for other people.
It is.
Debating an issue, not the person.
Poor Laura.
Yeah. Okay, what's everyone working on today? What do y'all plan to do before we go into our first sprint?
I'm going to work on a video again.
You're what, huh?
Sorry. Laura, did you say something too? Probably. You go ahead.
I'm working on a fan fiction.
Oh.
Of what fan base?
Bleach.
Oh.
Oh.
Are you on chapter 5 now?
Yeah.
Nice. Did you set a goal at the beginning of this weekend, and have you surpassed it? Yeah, no goal. You're just happy with whatever progress you got.
Exactly.
Shannon, what about you?
Oh, I'm going to work on some videos for my Kickstarter.
Nice. Was that one of the main things you wanted to get done this weekend?
I just wanted to get the Kickstarter done, so I got it done. And well, mostly there's a few more things I need to do, and I sent it out to my subscribers last night, my readers, and they've already left some messages of things that they would like to see me add to the Kickstarter. So, but that's gonna be a tomorrow thing because I've already worked on it really hard. So yeah,
I gotta work my way into this. So editing videos, and if the void allows you, Sam, what do you plan to do?
Well, right now, one of the voids is breathing very heavily to be let out, so I will probably let them out first. But then I shall be taking more notes. My short story, Not For Her, that I plan to put on my website, if I can speak, hopefully by the end of this year. It's like, it's drafted. It's been through a critique and beta process. I sent it to a sensitivity reader who did say I did the PTSD and other heavy subjects well, but they asked if I would be interested in more reading material to maybe even improve it. So I said yes. And so right now I'm going through a 43, hello, my large void. I will be going through a 43-page PDF. I'm on page 13 right now, just taking notes and validating myself on how I'm already handling it, and also seeing if I can learn anything new and improve. Yes.
Yeah.
Hello. Yes, I see. I really need to let this one
I don't think you're gonna be able to get much done.
Not till I let her out. It's okay. Manhandle her.
Awesome. I'm excited. I hope everyone's able to get their work done. I have about 60 something flashes that I'm editing. But I found out I could download them to my Kindle Scribe, and so I'm using the pen to actually cross stuff out and edit. And so it's nice to save paper, but also to still get the feeling of writing notes. And so I'm like 30 something out of the 60 in on that, and it's just a whole bunch of flashes. So some of them are close to 1,000 words, but most of them are like around 250 because I'm a short, sweet, to the point. So a lot of my notes are like add more and stuff. So.
I've only ever done like the cross out circle stuff for one project, and I only got through the first couple chapters before I was like, I could just be doing this in the document, like crossing it, like just deleting it and fixing it as I go. So it's like, what's the point?
All right. Are we ready for this. I am about to share the screen, or I just did the screen share. Now I got to figure out which setting. Oh, there we go. Okay. So the first timer is Sam's timer, and then I would be grabbing a timer from Laura's and a timer from Shannon's. And so we're going to do 30 minutes, 3 30-minute sprints. So hopefully that's giving y'all like a good charge attitude and everything. But don't be afraid to do some self-care in this time, hydrate, or whatever you need to do. This is all about making sure that we're productive in whatever capacity we shall be productive in, and be sane at the end. Sanity at the
Productive
end.
in our work, our life, or our self-care.
Important safety tip: save. No matter what you're doing, just save. All right. Awesome.
How can I save my life?
I'll let you know.
Absolutely.
There is some religions that believe that it can be done. That's a different topic. We can explore world building religions in the next topic. All right.
Please upload Laura 4.0.
404 not found. I couldn't help it. That's my
I had
page,
connectivity issues.
I'm thinking of all of the puns right now. Of the internet. Okay, back to this. All right. 3, 2, 1. I said 1. God, come on. Okay.
And that is time. Oh, we got the outside.
I will say, in defense of like my suggested videos, my son is on my stream, like on signed into my account so I can see what he's watching. But I am subbed to like every single bad YouTube acting targeted at kids video of like, I can't believe we just blank, and I'm either way.
Okay.
So
My suggested videos range entirely. So, some weeks it's like a bunch of like TV show analysis or people recapping things, and then other weeks you can tell I went on a YouTube tea binge. So I am not here to
Nice.
judge your recommended.
there we go. Yes. Oh, I am also streaming on Twitch because like I've never I used to stream on Twitch all the time, so I did a dual thing. So yeah, there was no audio during the countdown, but we're good now. Well, so how did everyone do? Did you get work done on it? What's up? We have a location change for Laura, I noticed. So what's up, Sam?
I let my voidlings out, and also I changed shirts to maybe I'm more visible in the void now. And I did get some work done. I got the section I was working on done, and then we only had a couple of minutes done or left on the timer, and I went and I looked at the next, and the next section is actually the biggest one so far. It looks like it's a page and a half, and it's on what was it? It's like 3Ds: disassociation, depersonalization, and derealization, which is something I have, I believe, a surface level understanding of, but it's also something that I think would enhance some of the types of themes and characters that I want to write in my settings, especially doing like paranormal and fantasy. And my husband's moving the blanket and pulling my desk away. So I really want to be able to focus on that section. So I was like, I'll just save it for the top of the next sprint.
I started working on my video, but I didn't get very far before Thor decided he wanted attention.
Attention is important.
I mean, there's been studies proven that having animals in the workplace, it decreases stress and everything. So I know if I ever own a business, what's going to end up happening.
I've seen videos of like there's an office dog and it fits in the little drawer of the desk.
Wow.
It's like, oh! So they open the drawer and there's a dog and the blankets and the pillows. It's like so adorable.
This one, he just climbs up in my lap and he throws himself backwards in my arms, expecting me to catch him. I catch him.
Trustful.
Yeah.
Nice.
What about you, Laura, dear?
I did the dishes and then I got 151 words. But yes.
Nice.
And I had to do a little bit of research. I was like, what is this device called? I can't remember. I think it's congregation. And it was. And I found the manga panels that proved it. Like,
I was
read it.
For the win. I was able to review 3 flashes, and yeah, that was fun. Especially when I'm talking to myself like I wasn't the one that wrote it. It kind of I've noticed I can be honest when I'm thinking past Natalie as like a different entity entirely. But it seems like everyone in chat is starting to do really well. They got a few things done. I had people who finished the book, started writing, and we got 477 words here. So, we get the full nature feel, including planes flying overhead. Okay, so we were talking about last time about how birth order can play into psychology, which is something psychology I feel like we do need to consider when it comes to our writing our characters and stuff.
100%.
But the last thing that we said I think is kind of interesting, such as talking about religion and world building. Has religion ever like woven into your stories of new religions and such? Bring it on.
Yes.
Definitely.
Oh, yes, 100%. I have always been fascinated by old religions, new religions, and everything. I've gone to a lot of different sorts of religious services, and I like creating my own. And it's definitely like entire cultures and everything have, you know, been built around religions. And since ancient times, religious stories and parables and such have always been used to try to shape the children into specific kinds of people. So, and like it's even
When you say
fascinating in a
shape
lot
here,
of
are we talking indoctrination more likely?
no, I'm
No.
talking shape. Like
Shape. Okay, so like not a negative connotation to it.
no, just a fairly neutral connotation because it could go positive or negative. For example, um, you know, the story of Little Red Riding Hood is often shared to try to teach children don't trust strangers, right? And to be careful. That's like one of the things. And so like a lot of that, like that's really at the base core what a lot of religions, like the purpose of them was to teach an easy storytelling way to teach children about the dangers in the world and how to behave. It does, organized religion can get much more insidious, but at its base core, religion is kind
It's a
of
set
like,
of beliefs.
yeah, it's a human drive to create a set of beliefs that everybody can agree on and believe in, so that in dire times there's something that people can band together to hope for. And even in like a lot of neo religions, which are religions that are trying to take back old religions, bring them up from their pagan roots when they were, you know, like tried to destroyed and erased from history. Like Neo Norse paganism is one example that I'm very familiar with. They like a lot of the things that I have looked up on it and researched. They'll be like, no, people who modern day practitioners of Neo Norse paganism do not actually believe that there is a thunder man in the sky riding an 8-legged horse, but like it's more about what all these things represent and like using that to share a community and a culture.
Shannon, how have religions seeped into your stories? I know with your first series, there's like strong Irish lore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So and that was like their gods and goddesses and stuff. So yeah, it plays pretty strongly in my next series too. Of course, I'm making up the religion, and it is a bit stronger in this book that's coming out for the Kickstarter because the main male character has an artifact that belongs to one of the gods that draws a lot of people to come worship that god. And the curse that's set up on the brothers is that they have to marry over and over again without ever being able to choose their bride. So the curse chooses it for them. And he is in love with the mermaid, but he realizes, oh, I'm about to have to get married. I don't know who my wife is going to be, but the curse is going to choose it, you know? So he turns to a religious figure, a monk, to ask him to help him pray to stay away from her, basically. So
Laura.
So I have one that I completely made up for my sci-fi duology. It it is sci-fi, and there are these Moebius strip like gates, kind of like stargates, but there are these Lovecraftian elder gods on the other side, and they breathe through the gates, and there are these oracle priestesses that get blinded by the noxious gases, but they can interpret, like they see the visions of the future and the past and everything. And so we have the oracle priestesses, we have the guys who are the scribes, and we have these rune tattoos that represent your past and your future to help you navigate through your life that I designed. And there's this whole, it's an oligarchy for the solar system because there's a gate on like each planet. And there's ruling families and politics and secret societies.
Did you draw from other religions to create this, or is it just...
I drew it from Lovecraft and Greek oracles. So, and then there are like yokai that come through the gates. Like the lesser spirits will like scamper through. But we can't go through the gate from our side. They just come through to ours. So
one-way ticket. Got it.
Yeah.
Can they go back through the gate?
I don't think so.
This is exit only.
Yeah. So it's quite fun for me.
It's like when you're at the airport. When you're at the airport and you go down the escalator and then you realize you fucked up and the up escalator is like, you're like, where the fuck is that?
You have to go through security again.
No.
Yep. So
yeah. TSA pat down again.
Yeah, so I used a bunch of alphabets and runes from our world to make these grids of like, okay, so I'm trying to spell out the word, like certain words that would be their guiding light basically for like their future. And so I have the letters, and I have the letters in the different alphabets, and then I like roll a dice to know which alphabet to use for each letter, and then I combine them all into an overarching rune. And so that's what the tattoos would be. So that was really fun.
You have made a cipher.
I have.
A new language entirely.
So it's great fun.
So did pronunciations affect that at all?
I have no idea how to pronounce any of it.
Laura says this is a book. The audiobook narrator, they get to have a time.
Creative license.
Yeah, but
Shannon, with yours, did you have to look up pronunciations or take some liberties of your own of pronunciations at all? Did you freeze, Shannon? Oh no, you just moved. Okay.
Oh, I thought you were asking Laura that question, so I heard something about pronunciations.
Yeah, we were talking about pronunciation. She said she has no clue how to pronounce her stuff. So audiobook time will be creative license by the narrator. But I was wondering with yours, did you you had the chance to look up pronunciations, or did you have to just take liberties because there's conflicting information of how things would be pronounced?
Yeah, in the Irish language, there's like 4 different dialects. That's like a minimum for the 4 different districts, which my story takes place mostly in Munster. So I tried to stick with that. But then there's a lot of old like Irish words in the mythologies that I use that were roughly translated, but they really don't know. And they had no idea how it was said. At least it's not anywhere.
Are they Gaelic or a different dialect for the old ones?
It's all Gaelic, but it's just really, really old. Like, and I've read all the papers that done by the professors that work within that, well, the ones who actually worked in the Irish mythologies and the ones that were linguistics, looked at all the different papers, and there's many words that they have no idea how it's supposed to be said. So
that makes me wonder about people who study Egyptian. Like, I'm like, how do you know how this is pronounced anymore from the hieroglyphs? And then there's also for anyone who is curious about the evolution of language, is to me actually really interesting. But like the difference between Beowulf, which is supposed to be the oldest printed English language, and then the Canterbury Tales, which is actually not that long ago, and then to English now. Like when you hear them, you're like, oh, this makes sense. But seeing the written form, it's just completely different than how we would write it today. It's
That's
so
why
interesting.
That's why they're linguists who like study the languages and stuff, because it's all very like fascinating, and
At least for some of us.
something that I find it fascinating.
I used to teach college English and literature, and my students would say, what do you think about all this new changing in the language and the way we're spelling things and text messaging? And I was like, well, you can't write that in your paper because it's academic. But otherwise, I think it's fascinating, like what Natalie says, because it's changing our language. Our language is not the same 100 years ago or 200 years ago. So
it's not even the same as it was a decade ago. Like, also, it's important to keep for like world building and stuff. Some interesting facts that people can add into their world building is that sometimes countries and cultures will globally be known by what the world power chose to call that country, but that's not actually what that country called themselves. For Egypt is one example. Ancient Egypt actually used to call itself Kemet. And like Japan, I believe, still calls itself Nippon. But the rest of the world calls it Japan. So it's that's some decisions that one can make if they're doing a lot of like politics and political things, and like having like the world power and everyone be like, oh yeah, this country is this word that like more aligns with the linguistics of the main power structures, but then like they get to that country and that country is like, oh, actually we go by this. So
I was listening to a comedian who was like reenacting when Britain went to India. And the guy was saying, hey, I'm from Great Britain. We're not taking over as or sovereignty of India. And the guy says, oh, who are you? He says, Great Britain. He was like, who gave you that name? Well, we gave it to ourselves. And he was like, you told yourself that you were great? And he was like, yeah. And he says, well, now you're part of Great Britain. He was like, no, we're Great India.
I like that, though. Confidence.
I finally have been chosen. So y'all, that reminded me of the evolution of language, of how there's certain sayings, and which also makes me careful because I write a lot of contemporary, but I don't want it to be almost a zeitgeist of today's times. I want it to be semi-timeless. But if I have certain sayings or something, it's going to be pretty telling, like especially if I have like text messages between characters and I'm writing you out versus typing it just the letter U or something like that. If I wanted to set something in the 90s, I could say be like, yeah, I won't have free talk or text until after 9. The little nuances like that. But for anyone who's doing fantasy, I love it when I'm reading about stories of where there's sayings of like, oh, thank the goddess. Like, but it's not that. It's not changing just one word out of a common saying. It'd be like when they take something and be like, well, that's a quagmire between a fox and a hen. What the hell does that mean? Or something like when they make up a phrase like that in a story, I love it because it makes it more believable for me. Language is really important about that. Or even the food they make, I think it's really important. People forget about food, and I'm like, well, I need it. I know we kind of tend as writers to skip our meals because we forget.
Yeah. I actually got the idea for how many gods are in my world because of something that just came to me, was a saying that came in my head. And I was like, okay, that's it. And I was like, I knew, okay, there's going to be a sun god. There's going to be elements. And I thought and I like alliteration. So I thought the sun god and his 7 sleepers. I was like, oh, there's 8 gods. He put the other gods to sleep, although they don't know that in the story. You do learn it in one book, but he's the one that put all his brothers and sisters to sleep. So people say, thank the sun god and his 7 sleepers. So, and I had that before I knew what my world was.
Oh, I love that. Like, and because it doesn't make sense, but if it's explained in it, yeah. There was an episode of House that I love, and this is another language thing. The episode of House, he ends up getting pulled by the CIA to help this guy who technically was not on a mission in a location. And so they're trying to figure it out. And House was never told where the guy went because that was classified and stuff. Ruined the plot twist or whatever. The guy was allergic or had like an over use of Brazil nuts. Well, when you're in Brazil, they're not called Brazil nuts because they're just nuts there. And so, but it was one of those things where knowing the location would have helped. And I think that's also can be done in your writing. Like when you got multiple cultures working together, you're going to have maybe different names for things or different uses for items for the same thing, but we just use it differently. Like even generationally, like for us right now, the next generation, they're texting a lot more. They're doing like audio calls type things, not voicemails, but you know, when you press like record audio and send it, that's
voice
what they
memo.
do. Yeah, like a voice memo to each other versus calling each other or texting. Whereas like millennials and Gen X, like we will switch to a phone call to avoid a lengthy like pain in the butt email of miscommunication. Otherwise, we're going to try to be an email or like we're like, please don't come to my house unless you've been announced. Like, and it's just I find that interesting. Like what is common, and I've even seen it with historical romances. Mostly because I listen to a lot of historical stuff. Well, I had some historical thrillers and mysteries too, but either way, where it was, when is it appropriate to even go and see someone at their house? Like if it's before lunch, no. That's encroaching on their time. Let them wake up or something and stuff. So those type of things I feel like we forget about in the fantasy realm. Oh my God. Now chat's talking about stuff. No, kitty, come back. Fine.
Chat's talking about ICU and medical trauma.
I was like, with my oldest son growing up, we just always had like cheap furniture, the lamps that you push or you just touch it and turn it on and stuff like that. And then now that we're out of the military and we got to our place where we're staying for a while, we got some good furniture. And he was 19 when we moved in here. And one day we're like, hey, Jay, can you shut off the light over there on the table? And it didn't happen for a while. And I was kind of looking, I was like, what are you doing? He was like, I'm touching it. I'm pushing everything. I don't know how to shut this off. It was one of those ones you had to turn the knob. And he had no idea how to shut it off.
I have that reverse issue when I go to hotels sometimes. I'm like, how do I turn this like on or off? And it's like, there's no knob. There's no button. That you got to look on the wall. And it's just like, why is it so complicated?
Yeah, it's funny because I like to laugh at kids getting a rotary phone and like trying to press buttons when it spins, or getting a cassette player and a cassette and be like, here you go. And like, I don't know. Or even just the case that the cassette goes in. Without a cassette, someone thought it was a phone holder and stuff. And I laugh at it because we grew up with it. We know what it is. But I was like, those are the things that I think are really key in writing when you have any, especially portal fantasies. There's got to be something where you like misuse it. Not even, well, would Little Mermaid be a portal fantasy? Because come on, she totally misdiagnosed Dinglehopper, okay? Well, actually, it was the bird that did it, but Scuttle. But
she
found a second purpose.
Horrible source of information.
Yeah. Wikipedia.
She Google Translate, and it did not go well.
Yes. Oh man, but it's, I don't know.
I don't think Little Mermaid is a portal fantasy so much as culture shock.
Yeah, true. It is. You're in the same world,
just two different cultures.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah. or anything. Either way, I as much as I dislike world building, like, because fantasy is really hard for me to read. Like I haven't been able to read Dune or Lord of the Rings. Like I've tried. It's just when you're describing every blade of grass, I can't.
But that's not
old man
I don't like,
fantasy. Yeah.
I don't like those either.
I've branched out though, and I've branched out, and I realize actually enjoyed some fantasy. But the thing is also, even with the newer stuff like Wheel of Time and Shadow and Bone, I couldn't get into those either.
Time is not.
Wheel of Time is still old man.
It is
fantasy.
old. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I recommend Dark Rise by C.S. Picot. It has 3 point of views in book 1. It is Gondor from Lord of the Rings meets Pirates of the Caribbean meets Pride and Prejudice. It is so flippin' cool.
Okay.
Yeah,
Dark
I
Rise.
refer to
Dark Rise.
Rise.
There's
I
2
refer
books so far.
to there's a type of fantasy that I refer to as old man fantasy, and it's because predominantly it was written by old men.
White guys.
White guys.
Exactly.
And it all has a specific tone of voice and a specific thing, and like you said, they describe everything and the history and the genealogy and the etymology of everything, which, while I am interested in these things, not while I am reading a story. So, but there is like so much other fantasy out there.
Even Game of Thrones, but again, I would probably categorize it in that old man fantasy.
I mean,
like,
I was about to say Robert.
Let's look at the writer.
Not J.R.R. Martin is old man fantasy as well.
So, but yeah, but I've actually been able to branch out, and I do want to explore more. But like, there's this new, someone brought it up, and they called it comedic fantasy, and it's like, the best example I could give is the Apprentice to the Villain series. To me, is like comedic fantasy. Like it doesn't take itself seriously whatsoever. I would even put in Good Omens in that realm, even though it's not fantasy. It's fantasy, but it's also kind of set in modern times. But this whole like weird thing, comedic sci-fi would be like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and everything. Just these like,
yeah, it's like it's just the lighter. Yeah, it's just the lighter tone half of the genre. Yeah.
There's like the time I got drunk and yeeted a love potion at a werewolf book series.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dude, please tell me that's in like the blurb in the back.
That's the title.
Yeah.
Even better. That's the stuff. Yeah, I like, yeah, I like all that. But urban fantasy is good. I think urban fantasy is more bite-sized for me because I've already got a setting of the world or whatever. Even portal fantasy works because for me I'm relating to the main character already because we're at least of the same world and we're both exploring this new place from the same perspective.
There's a bridge gap.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bridging the gap is what I meant.
Yeah. But yeah. Oh, world building. Yay. Okay. Are we ready for our next sprint?
Sure.
I was trying to see if I could Google lighthearted fantasy and see if I recognized any of them.
Well, there's a cozy fantasy called Legends and Lattes.
That was on the list. I want to read it.
The House Witch. I think it's what it's called. The House Witch.
Yeah.
That was really good.
There's a series, it's a trilogy, and it's a romance series because I end up getting brushed into those, but it's urban fantasy as well. But it's I'm gonna have to look it up. I'll put it in the chat. It just left me. It's fine. All right. So this timer's off Laura's channel. Got 30 minutes. In 3, 2, 1. If I can press the button. There we go.
You're still muted, Natalie? Okay, just making sure. Well,
I'm just trying to find my mouse, the screens, and
I get you. I just saw your mouth moving, so I wanted to be sure. So that was a resting sprint for me. I just read some webtoons. I'm catching up on ones I had started but didn't have time to read since a lot of my other ones finished up recently. So very much enjoying the binge.
I'm afraid to start back up on webtoons because it's been a while and I know there's a lot for me to read. What'd you do, Shannon?
My kitties were begging for food, even though it's not dinner time yet. So I just went out, took them out, and pet them a little bit, gave them attention, told them they got another hour. Got a snack for me. And then came back here, and my video, the next video I worked on, finished rendering. But while I was doing that, I did open my document, had like 7 minutes left, and wrote 23 words. So
I made mashed potatoes that sprint.
sounds good.
Tasty.
Yeah, for dinner tonight, I know we're having baked potatoes, and I'm looking forward to the starch right now with the sour cream and the cheese and the bacon, like real bacon on top and stuff.
That sounds
The Irish
good. I
stew
want
is
potatoes
done.
now.
Is this what we're gonna do? Are we naturally going to food now?
Well,
With our
it's
world.
almost done. It's almost time for dinner now, apparently. So
Yeah, it's like
we have mashed potatoes, Irish stew, and popovers.
Ooh, nice.
I'm going to
I'm
Laura's.
I'm a big fan of like starch and everything. What do you got, Shannon?
Oh, I got some yogurt with strawberries and blueberries. That's what I just finished eating.
You healthy person.
Trying.
I'm sitting here, I'm like, I want all the carbs.
I like both. Like, I really want the potatoes now, but I just bought a bunch of stuff for salad, so I'm looking forward to having another one of those. That was actually what my child came to bug me about earlier. Was she was like, "Mom, I want a salad." I'm like, "Do you want me to make it?" And she goes, "Yes." And I'm like, "Can you wait till the next sprint?" And she goes, "I'll just go make my own." And I was like, "I see how it is."
Yeah. Heads up for our timeline. I'm hoping I want to try to talk only for like 5 more minutes, and then we'll go to the 30-minute sprint so that way we have plenty of time for wrap up, closing. Y'all talk about your next greatest thing, so that way we can have bathroom breaks for people who are going to be on the closing stream, for Chat and Sam. So bathroom breaks are considered, but either way. So food wise, what have y'all written into your stories? Like, what was, I know some people it was a crutch to have a big like what is it called? And I can hear, I think, Sam, your dog snoring.
That's my. Okay.
Oh, her husband?
Oh, her
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw my like little areas start to light up yellow at the beat of his snoring, and I was like, should I mute? And then you guys said something, so he's
okay.
got the flu bad.
Poor guy. Yeah, let him sleep. But I know some people, they just like how conflict can help move the story along. Getting all characters in one location is like usually a party, a dinner party or something like that. And if you're planning that, you have to include the food. And depending on where it's set, if we're doing historical, you got to get semi-historical accurate. These are the things people don't think about until they're writing the scene, and they're like, oh God, why am I being precise?
In the first book I wrote, it was Samoan culture, and so I had to do a lot of research on Samoan food and what would have been imported to this other planet and down into the snail shell. And it's like, what are they growing? What are they importing? So what's available? And there's a funeral. So like, what's traditional funeral food? Not funeral potatoes.
Yes, funeral potatoes.
I mean, technically, all food could be. I don't know. I'm used to in the South, like we did potlucks, and it was potlucks for funerals, potlucks for family gatherings, and everything. So pretty much, what you would eat at Thanksgiving was also kind of what you ate at those events as well.
Food is such a huge part of culture, like all around the world, and there are so many like different things and such for food that uh, I have many passions, and food is one of them.
Yeah,
So I love researching foods and writing foods and figuring out what kind of foods, like if I'm writing a culture that's in like a really cold region, then heavy foods that keep and are gonna fill. Whereas like if it's a hot, arid region, like maybe some lighter foods for throughout the day, but also maybe like carb heavy so that you can burn the energy quickly, but that it doesn't keep one weighed down. Because like our bodies interact with food in different ways too, and so depending on a what kind of body type you have, and b the weather conditions, and then also what kind of work you're doing really changes the types of food that you need to be fueled and to stay functioning. And so I like to figure all that out and stuff. Like for example, all of my family just got over the stomach bug. So the first thing I'm thinking of to put back in stomachs, other than like soft foods, is like probiotics, things to help replenish the stomach's natural ability to fight off disease and to recover and whatnot. So the like yogurts and whatnot. And oranges, because they're high sources of vitamin C, which also, fun pirate fact, pirates didn't actually get scurvy a lot because they ate a lot of fruit. So, and fruit is something that naturally helps fend off, like the body fend off scurvy. So scurvy was not as common amongst pirates as
So
one might think.
the English Navy were called limeys because they would eat limes to fend off scurvy.
Oh, wow. I know one thing I find interesting, and it's more of the behind the scenes of not the type of food, but also who's cooking the food, who's the preparation. Is it a family thing, or is it just one person doing the cooking? At what age is it like a rite of passage to learn? Are recipes passed down only by blood, or is it, can you marry into it and everything? Like what? And then not to mention the durableness of the like pots and pans used. I've seen them being like almost ritualistic of like, you got Nona's pot, like her stew pot and everything. This thing's been in the family for years. Cast irons in the South. Oh my God.
I was about to say, who's inheriting the cast iron?
Yes. So
and then you have Samwise Gamgee trekking all the way to Mordor with his pots and pans.
Yes, but what about second breakfast?
And his salt just in case they have a roast chicken one night or something.
Yes.
Oh man, every time.
I was teasing my oldest because he really likes deviled eggs. So I taught him how to make deviled eggs. And then I wanted egg salad sandwich the other day, and I wasn't feeling the greatest. So I was like, hey, can you boil me up 4 eggs? Which he did, and then proceeds to go, can I have one of them? Child move extraordinaire. And I was like, why didn't you just boil 5 eggs? And he goes, I didn't think about that. And then he left. And then after he left, I was like, oh no, I failed him as a mother. I should have told him to add salt to the boiled egg.
Oh.
And then I told him that, and he was like, no. So next time he knows.
I mean, learn the easy way or the hard way. I have to admit, learning the hard way, yeah, it sticks. All
we
right.
learn more from our mistakes than from getting it right.
Yeah. Though I will say I learned from my sister's mistakes growing up a lot better. At least I didn't have to make them.
That's fair.
All right. This adorable. Not that y'all weren't great either, but I'm sorry, cats. Okay, I think we can all agree.
No,
This is
no offense
adorable
taken.
timer. Timer is off of Shannon's page, and we're gonna go ahead and get started on the last sprint. Everyone do what you need to do. I know I've switched over and I'm listening to an audiobook while I actually hold on, full circle here. Do this dot rendition where it makes a picture and it's a cat. So we're going full circle here. I can't do paint by number on these things because it's black and white, but I can do dots and make a picture. So yay. By the way, I'm not freehanding this. Those dots, I just fill it in, okay? This isn't me to freehanding anything. Though I have freehanded art on this thing.
I was
it just doesn't work out
impressed.
great. No. Let's lower the expectations, everybody. All right. Let's get ready. In 3, 2, 1. Come on. Why do I can't have a good thing. Oh, it moves. Is it
It's
gonna
not
fall?
just you, Natalie. YouTube has been doing that to me all weekend.
By the way, I'm watching to see if the cat's gonna fall. Oh no. Okay, never mind. Great. The picture's gonna change. Okay, sorry. I'll be quiet. Everyone work. That was adorable. I kept on looking at my screen every now and then and getting distracted.
I do too.
Every time. Spencer, yeah, I see the cat, but I'm on stream. I can't have other.
You have a Spencer next to you. I have a Spencer next to me.
Never ends. Oh my god. My stream. And then not to mention, so in the middle of that stream, my daughter messaged me and was like, "Mom, can you come pick me up?" And I'm like, "Nah, dog, I can't." I was like, I could do it at 5. Luckily, her friend's only like 8 minutes away, but either way. But I almost have, hold on. I almost have the picture done.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah. So just got a little bit more to do. How did y'all do?
I finished rendering my next video, and then I wrote for 14 minutes. Well, I brainstormed, and 267 words for brainstorming.
I will say we got extra minutes because my headphones kept disconnecting, which would pause the video, and I was like,
Oh, no.
I did notice it once when it stopped, but it was that time it was only stopped for like a minute.
It was like 2 times. There was one where I was on the other side of the house and I didn't think about it. And then I was like, well, before I put my son's, because I was putting up laundry, and I was like, before I put my son's laundry out, let me check. And I come in and check and I go, wait, that number's not moving. Hold on. So yeah, so I was a little productive. I got through the audiobook. I went from 18% to 22% in the audiobook, and then almost done with the cat. So either way, but yeah, I tried to stay up on it when I realized it was a problem, and that's why, in case you noticed. So
I might have wrote longer than 14 minutes.
might have. All right, man, we got people getting 427 words. Listen to Austrian accents to get the right accent in the brain. Yeah. 395 words, so close to finishing chapter. I've shifted away from words, and I'm more focused on like, I got to get this scene done or this chapter done, like a good like whole moment thing.
Yeah. When I do like daily goals and stuff, generally it's I want to try to get past this part, or well, not like daily goals, but when I sit down for like a session goal, I'm like, I want to get this section done or this part done. But then like to share with people, I'll just highlight the words and be like, I did this many words this sprint. Because that's like the easier way to quantify with everyone else.
This is my 3rd year tracking. I track what project I'm working on, what part of the writing process, whether brainstorming, drafting, editing, or revising, how long I went for, and how many words. And that's given me a good idea of like what months do I get the most stuff done, where, you know, especially with my schedule with doing the Author Writing Conference and podcasts and other things, and lets me know when I'm most productive and when I'm not. So it's been really helpful for me to track it that way.
I like that like 3-tier tracker because I believe in the same thing where I associate it when I was overseas for work. I was like, you know, I'm gonna get fit, but I got fit by 3 different measurements. Of course, there was weight, then there was measurements like with a tape measure, and then there was pictures. And I was like, as long as I'm like making progress in 2 of these, I felt good about myself. Because if you stick to one measurement, it's gonna be skewed
Not
someday.
The full picture.
Exactly. And so I like that measure from 3 different points type of thing. That it's definitely mentally healthy when you're trying to work towards a goal. Because a lot of times when we don't see progress, we think, why am I even trying? And it kind of put ourselves down.
It gets demotivating.
I was doing very in-depth tracking, but then 2 of my kids started middle school in August, and because of a couple things, I decided I would stop focusing on writing as a career for now until the youngest was at least in high school, and treating it more as a passionate hobby I will one day turn into a career. And like changing that mentality is now like all the progress I make until I decide to pursue it as a career again is good progress, and I'm not like, I won't get stuck in the, oh, but I haven't like finished my manuscript yet, right? Because the time that I was using to like devote solely to working on my writing, I now have to take a lot of that energy and start helping with homework again, because middle school homework is not the same as elementary homework.
You're muted.
Yeah.
I was trying to pass the buck. Laura, how did it go?
We ate dinner. So we had Irish stew on mashed potatoes with popovers, and then I made some shortbread cookie dough for dessert. So we're just eating the dough.
Fair.
We might play apples to apples later. We'll see.
So much food. Don't eat the
We have
carbs.
enough leftovers for tomorrow. So it was beef and bacon and carrots and celery and onion and
Cats?
in the Irish stew.
There's cats in the stew.
Carrots.
Carrot.
Oh, carrots. Oh my goodness! I'm so glad it was carrots.
Yes.
I mean, at some point in history, there could have been, depending on
what era of Ireland?
Yeah. So, I did throw in chat, by the way, the tiny URL link to our playlist, which will have the party at the end. But I do want to spend these last few minutes letting everyone highlight what they have going on in the future. When's your next stream? What is the thing we can do to promote you right now? Like, what do you have out? What can we expect to see from you and stuff? So, like, don't hold back, okay? I would do it for you, but pretend I am, and which means you're going to do better than you normally promote yourself, because I know we hate doing that. But pretend
Are you sure?
Pretend you're promoting your friend, and your friend is future you.
I'm just saying.
All right, we're going to go backwards. So Sam is first this time, since with intros you were last. And then we'll hit Laura and then Shannon.
All right. Well, let's see. It's Sunday. So tomorrow I have a writing stream at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Wednesday, I have Whip Wednesday, where I will be continuing my research, and we'll see how much I get done then. I think CB and I will try to stream Baldur's Gate Friday. I don't know. Her mom's coming to visit. We'll have to check. And I have the book talk for Scumville and Self-Saving System coming up. And I will be on the closing stream in 8 minutes.
You were on any streams this write-a-thon, Sam. What the heck?
I tried. Also, if you would like to see samples of my writing, you can go to my website, SamanthaLNassett.com. I have a flash fiction, Till Pizza Do Us Part, and a murder short story, All That Glitters, both up, totally free to read and pretty quick reads from what most people tell me. I'm a slow reader, so. Laura.
I am Laura Nettles. I write a plethora of things. I have a video coming out tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Pacific, where I am doing my postmortem of 2024 and my 2025 goals. And it is to a slideshow of memories of the entire year of 2024. So you get everything. Nice. And I have two streams tomorrow. I'm just everywhere, and then I'm getting on a plane right after.
Call me out for being everywhere.
Whatever, man. Normally Tuesdays I'm on Nia's, Wednesdays I'm on JC's, Thursdays I'm on either mine or Tiffany's, and then Fridays I'm starting to be with Oh My Jordy, and Mondays I'm gonna be either with Sam or Oh My Jordy or whoever else. We'll see. I'm going to be with Zara Hoffman for a couple streams next month. It's just everywhere. So
it's okay. She's not cheating on me on Mondays. It's an open relationship.
Well, there was a video that we thought was not about Kitty, so I'm not gonna say that. I'm Shannon. I write under the name of Essie Heason. That's my YouTube channel as well. And I guess I do have sprints tomorrow. Mine start at 8 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Eastern. But the thing that I guess I'm promoting is my Kickstarter, which launches on Tuesday, and I'll be doing that during our live stream. But first, we'll be bringing on some authors to talk about co-writing in a shared world and their Kickstarter, and then launching the Kickstarter. So.
Who are you, Natalie?
I'm always trying to find my mouse. That makes me think of this meme. And it was the in Jurassic Park where the guys are holding each other and it goes, "Don't move. They sense movement." And it says my mouse when I'm trying to find it, and I'm like every single time, especially because I have a Bluetooth mouse, but it actually has 2 Bluetooth frequencies, so one's connected to my computer and one's connected to my husband's computer, and so I always got to make sure it's on my computer, otherwise I'm like swinging it like this, and then I hear "hey" from the other room.
I would do so many shenanigans.
Me too.
Poor husband.
Oh, yes.
I do on my phone. I'll get on there and I'll pull up like a YouTube video and then play it to my husband's TV. And be like,
yeah.
What's going on?
My sister connected her phone to the car as we were driving, and she was in a different state. I don't know how she did it. And it just started playing fife and drum music.
Oh my God.
It's like, okay.
I can connect my phone to any of the TVs in the house from my bedroom, so occasionally I'll mess with my older son upstairs.
These are the things we do. All right. Just because I want to make sure that I do this. This thing's working so slow. Stop it. Not now. I don't care. Leave me alone. So, for anybody, do I get the original? There we go. So, Blood of Lily, that's book 1.
Thank you.
Shannon's story. And then, because you didn't mention it, so I will. And then, Laura, you mentioned it, but I'll mention it again. Tiny Shivers. All right. Listen, whenever y'all say things are discounted on Kindle, you're speaking my language. So that's the only reason I got them. I don't think I'm the best person ever. It's still on my TBR, okay? I haven't read it yet, but it's progressed closer to my eyes, at least. It's at least downloaded.
She has completed step 1, the purchase.
Exactly. It's like when people would go, "Well, how's your morning going?" I was like, "Well, I'm awake. That's one step down." Can't really do anything without that. So, thanks everybody. This is my channel. Thanks for coming. And if you like flash fiction, pretty much follow me on Instagram and you'll find out when I'm streaming and promoting flash fiction stuff, which is pretty much publicly editing a first draft so that you realize we're all making the same mistakes. It's cool.
And I'm bumming off of you and joining your March one.
Yes. So March is going to be fun. That's March 16th. It will be, we're doing this where it's like, we have challenges to make it harder for us to like write and try new techniques, but we're also throwing in lore. So we're going to throw in Irish lore, like true Irish lore, not just what you think Irish lore should be for this next one. So I got to study. I have homework, and we'll see you all on my channel on the 16th. So, but other than that, thanks, Wave. Bye. We're good.
Bye.